In this series, I'll be looking at some of the jewels of Wales and looking at the wildlife associated with them. These are landscape gems, my choice of some of the very best natural and industrial landscapes of Wales. I'll be meeting people who live, work and play in this spectacular scenery. I'll be finding out why they love it so much.
Beautiful display, you can't really miss the lapwing.
I'll be exploring the sea. And I'll be visiting industrial sites once exploited, but now being won over by nature. I'll be finding out how the Welsh landscape is being used today and discovering some very surprising wildlife right amongst this dramatic activity. Wales has terrific landscape, and it's been enjoyed and exploited for centuries. It's been shaped by nature and by man. In Wales, it rains a lot. And water is responsible for much of the beauty of Wales. We have great rivers, beautiful lakes, some stunning gorges. There are also artificial reservoirs, equally as striking. Here, water is being exploited as a valuable resource. And water is the subject of this first episode. It's my pick of the very best of Welsh water. The high rainfall, together with craggy uplands, means that Wales has some very impressive waterfalls. This is Mellingcourt Waterfall, high up in the Neath Valley. This is Aber Falls in Snowdonia. They're spectacular in full flow. But my favourite is this one, on the edge of the Berwyn Mountains in Powys. It's no wonder, is it, that Pistyll Rhaead is one of the 7 wonders of Wales. Just look at it. Absolutely stunning. But what a lot of people don't know is that it is in fact higher than Niagara Falls. It's almost 80 metres tall. And the water has sculpted this shape here. Basically, you've got hard rock overlying softer rock. And over thousands of years, the soft rock, thanks to the water and the ice and the wind, has been sculpted away so that today it cascades down 240 feet. When you put it in these wonderful surroundings here, it really is one of Wales's jewels. This continuous drenching promotes an incredibly rich plant growth. Some of it very special and rare. The erosive effects of water also produces deep ravines. We have many inaccessible gorges, except of course for those who enjoy a challenge. Gorge walking, or canyoning as it's also called, is the new sport of Welsh rivers. I was persuaded by local water sports guide Mark Lind to take part in a gorge walk in a challenging ravine in Gwynedd. So, how popular is canyoning or gorge walking now?
Well, in North Wales, probably over the last 3 or 4 years, the amount of usage here has doubled.
I suppose one of the biggest problem looking at it from a naturalist point of view is that it's such a specialised environment full of rare plants. There's the potential there for quite a bit of conflict.
Well, what we have is the Code of Conduct for Gorges in North Wales. It means that as a group leader we need to have some training and some input from the experts that look after the environment. We always stay to the same scour zone where the water's flowing over the rock. It means that we're not damaging it. So we're going across the top of the waterfall here, pretty much scrambling along this ledge. And at this point, we come to the only way down.
So we abseil down this next bit.
We're going to abseil down into the pool.
On this whole path that we've followed all the way down here and on again, we're avoiding all the really sensitive plants here.
Yeah.
So it means you can marry having fun, having a laugh, but also not desecrating the environment.
Absolutely.
Right, abseiling down then.
Away we go.
Let it go. Yeah. That's good. Well, very enjoyable, but pretty cold. The oldest river pastime in Wales is a very different experience. More leisurely and with a tasty reward at the end.
Okay. We've got to be close now, Ian. That's it.
I'm joining Mark Jones and Ian Harris, both coracle fishermen on one of Wales's finest rivers, the Teifi. This beautiful section is at Kilgerran, Carmarthenshire. It's another jewel of Wales.
How much net have you got out there now,
We've
boys?
got about a fathom out here now. This will take us down to the deeper part, and we'll drop down about another half a fathom again then.
You must know the bottom of this river like the back of your hand.
You get a bit of a mental picture in your head, you know, what it looks like, and all the stones and the lumps of rock and thing in the bottom. And hopefully the fish.
And you're fishing for what now then?
For sea trout.
For sea trout?
For sea trout till the 1st of June.
Yeah.
And then we can fish for salmon then.
Ah, right.
Till the end of August. The net's forming a little purse as it goes down the river. There's a wall of mesh, then they swim into a purse.
Right.
And then hopefully I just pull the string and close the purse.
All right, that's how it works.
Yeah.
You feel the fish coming in.
You feel the fish hitting the first mesh, and then we close it then, and it hits the back mesh. Sometimes it gets enmeshed, or sometimes it's just loose in the bag.
So there's a potential for it to go in and go back out again. Yeah?
Salmon frequently do. So if you don't feel them quick enough, they've gone.
They've gone, aye. And there would have been men coracling on this section of river, I'd have thought, for hundreds,
centuries.
if not thousands of
Oh,
years.
definitely, you know, into the sort of Middle Ages. And it's thankfully carrying on.
I tell you what, there's only us, and I can hear wood pigeons calling.
Like
and
I say,
that's
it's
it.
usually woodpeckers.
What a lovely way to spend a day.
The most colourful bird you'll see on the Teifi, and indeed on the banks of most Welsh rivers, is the kingfisher. The first hint that one's about is this high-pitched call. It's a stunning bird. The Wye is another of Wales's great rivers. Its nature changes dramatically along its route from its source in mid-Wales. All along its course, it's a special site of scientific interest. It's clearly one of Wales's jewels and an important wildlife habitat. These are sea lampreys. During June, they spawn on the riverbed under Borrowed Bridge near Brecon. Lampreys are jawless fish and have suckers around the mouth to attach themselves onto bigger fish to feed on their flesh. During spawning, they use their suckers to attach to stones. The male shifts big stones on the river to form a deep depression in which the female lays her eggs. It's one of the great wildlife spectacles of Wales. By the time the Wye has reached Tintern, some 50 miles south, it's become a tidal river. It lies in a deep gorge and flows beneath high limestone cliffs. The river has carved out a beautiful landscape. I'm told that the best way to experience the Wye Gorge is by kayak. I'm undertaking the pursuit on a particularly wet day with instructor Graham Simons and Kate Biggs, who is one of the team that overlooks this area of outstanding natural beauty.
Whenever I come down the Wye, Kate, what amazes me is the sheer number of yew trees in here. They're everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. It's because they're sort of an indicator species for the limestone. I mean, this is fantastic, really, because you've got high limestone cliffs, the sort of ravine woodland, which you don't get anywhere else in Wales, probably not in Britain either. That's why it's also protected. but it gives it a particular sort of biodiversity that you don't really get elsewhere.
Amazing place, it really is. And Graham, the best way to see it is like this, from the water.
The best way to see it is like this from the water, but you need to be very careful. The tide today, it'll be 14 metre.
14 metre?
13.7 to 14, so that's a 40 to 44 foot tide. If we get it wrong, tide waits for no man.
And if we weren't kayaking down, we wouldn't see any of this.
That's right, the perspective off the river is
But
totally
now,
different.
Today, we haven't seen anybody here at all.
No.
If you go back 200 years, this river would have been a hive of activity. You would have had barges and trows coming up from Bristol.
And this would have been kind of the M4 of its day, 'cause it would have been
absolutely.
by far the easiest access, and you'd have carried the biggest loads.
Yeah.
Back there now, Kate, we went past an ancient old church or a chapel. What was that?
That's Landcourt Church. That's deserted medieval village, but we know it was a leper colony, but the church dates from about the 12th century. And I mean, the churchyard, in the summer, there's all sorts of herbs and things in and around the churchyard. And, you know, people say that's because, you know, they were there for the monks to use.
I bet they were too, were they?
Yeah, as part of their sort of medicinal storehouse.
What a fabulous location to build a medieval village. At the bottom of the gorge, the villagers would have had easy access to the main trade route of the period. Here, not only does the tidal water dictate transport up and down the river, it also shapes the landscape itself, forming huge sandbanks. Now, if I was asked to choose the best natural lake in Wales, Talyllyn, below the mountain of Cadair Idris in mid-Wales, would come close to the top. On a bright, still day, it's stunning. Like most big lakes, you'll be hard-pushed to see much wildlife. What little there is usually right in the middle. But occasionally an interesting bird comes closer to shore. These are goosanders. They're quite a common bird in Wales, and are usually seen on rivers. This one here is a male. The female looks quite different. They're diving ducks. They have saw bills that enable them to grasp and catch small fish. Now, the presence of fish-eating birds always triggers heated debate with anglers, especially in an important fishing location. And Talyllyn is one of the best fishing lakes in Wales. Phil Wood is the chief gilly here, the fishing guide for the lake. Today, I've a very different kind of fishing in mind. I only want to see the fish, not catch them. It helps that Phil likes to feed the fish daily with bread close to shore.
Now, it's not the best of day visually today. It's overcast.
It's perfect for fishing, though.
It's good for the fish.
This is the best conditions you can get.
Oh, yeah, OK, I've got him. Oh, he's moved away again.
Might have spooked them a little bit. They were feeding earlier, but we have had a few problems with cormorants and poachers.
Do you know what, Phil? I don't know a single fisherman who likes cormorants.
Oh, we like them.
Just not
on the
too
water.
ready, not on the water, yeah. It's starting to come in. I had one go past the frame now, slowly. Oh, here we are. Whoa! Nice big fish.
I think about £3, Joe.
£3?
Yeah, a small one for Talyllyn.
They're lovely looking fish.
Oh, the markings on them are unique, you know.
Beautiful fish. But it's a very well-known lake, isn't it, for its excellent fishing?
It's a famous lake for the top of the water sport, you know. It's a shallow lake, 6 to 8 feet average, and the fly life is fantastic here.
And so that's what makes it such a good fishing lake. So much food.
So much food, and top of the water sport, which the fishermen want. You ask any fisherman, the take is paramount.
Right.
And it takes the fly off the top and you connect.
When fresh water is trapped inland, it forms wetland. And that's my next jewel in the wet Welsh landscape. Typically, Welsh wetland looks like this one at Cors Caron near Tregaron. It's one of the biggest raised bogs in Wales. Occasionally, a wetland spreads to woodland, and there's a special wet woodland on the outskirts of Swansea. It lies right in the middle of an industrial area and has somehow survived both drainage and land development. In the past, many parts of lowland Wales, and indeed Britain, would have looked like this: impenetrable wet woodland. Jamie Bevan of the Countryside Council for Wales looks after the site.
I tell you what, Jamie, it's a dangerous place to come by yourself, isn't it?
It is. You don't want to come in here on your own.
No, I'm sure.
No. I think you're heavier than me.
A couple of stone heavier than you, I think, the way I'm going down here. Jamie, don't go too far. Hold on.
It's getting worse.
It is getting worse. That's got it. You swear you were in Louisiana or in the Everglades here. It's amazing to think that you're not. You're actually just on the outskirts of Swansea, and this wet woodland like this is really quite rare in Wales now.
Feels quite primeval, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. What is this big tall sedge here?
Greater tussock sedge.
Greater
And
tussock
that's
sedge.
the sort of dominant sedge.
And a couple of nice ferns. One of them I do recognise. That's royal fern, not
That's
as
right.
best yet, because that's a great big big
Yeah.
one. And some nice little delicate ones here and there as well. Which one's that?
That's the marsh fern then, and that's the real rarity actually. Just a handful of sites in Wales, mainly an East Anglian species, so only 2 sites in South Wales for it in fact.
And that's the odd thing, isn't it? Because this is a fen, and this is the kind of thing you'd expect to see somewhere like East Anglia, not in Wales.
That's right, almost like a chunk of East Anglian fenland dropped on the South Wales coast.
So one of the wonderful things about this too is that, yes, it's important for its fen plants, but I can hear birds all around me. I can hear blackcap calling, I can hear chiff-chaff calling just back from Africa, blue tits, great tits in here. And of course, there's a lot of dead and dying wood. Look at this is completely rotten here. And the birds love this. It's good for feeding, it's good for nesting as well. And some of the trees are just so full of holes. There'll be woodpecker holes, but they'll be taken over by blue tits, great tits, marsh tits. It really is an important habitat. But in a month or two, it'll look very different. That's when the ferns, sedges will be at their best. The royal fern will be huge then.
By midsummer, the woodland is pretty much a no-go zone. You could be in a tropical jungle, not on the outskirts of Swansea. You'd need a machete to work your way through this. Water is not only responsible for the beauty of Wales above ground, it also shapes the Welsh landscape below the land surface. The Brecon Beacons and the Black Mountain immediately to the west of the beacons have the biggest cave systems in Europe, and that's because the rock is mostly made of limestone, which dissolves in water. One of the most impressive caves in Wales is Dan yr Ogof in the upper Swansea Valley.
It's a completely different landscape underground.
I'm joining a
It
caving
really
team
is.
led by John Osborne, who knows the caves well. The continuous flow of water has created huge caverns and tunnels which extend 10 miles beneath the Black Mountain. As water seeps through the limestone, it also dissolves calcium salts in the rock, which then reform into calcite formations. And after thousands of years, they can develop into incredible structures. John is taking me to see one of Wales's finest underground spectacles. But we have some tough caving to do first. Caves are dangerous places. A sudden downpour above ground can flood these tunnels very quickly. You have to know when to retreat and leave. Thankfully, today, this won't happen. We'll be able to continue and see an underground jewel which has been formed by water.
We're getting there.
It's a bigger passage, isn't it, this one?
It is.
All created by water.
Amazing, isn't it?
It is incredible.
Come on, Yellow, what are you doing? You think it was small, this bit?
It's physically and mentally demanding coming through here. It's because you're in a confined space, and I'm 15.5 stone, and this in bits is like a bit like going down a badger set. And can you imagine the first person to come down here? It was a woman, and she didn't know what she was going to get, whether she was going to be able to get through, whether she'd have to reverse all the way back, whether it'd become waterlogged or not. And that starts playing tricks with your mind. But I am told that what's at the far end really is worth all this effort.
The first person to squeeze through this long crawl was Eileen Davis from Swansea, and she did it 50 years ago. She had no way of knowing what was at the end of the tunnel. Like any other caver, she simply needed to know where it led to. All I'm thinking about is that I'll have to come back exactly the same way. But the effort is worthwhile. This has been named the greatest natural wonder in Britain, and it's been formed by the action of water on limestone.
Oh, wow, look at that. It's another one of those examples, you know, where you see something created by nature and it outdoes anything man can do.
Totally.
How old are these?
They're not as old as you think they might be. Some of the larger formations we've seen, they take up to 100,000 years to form. These, between sort of 100 and thousands of years, they're actually completely hollow. Like a drip of water you can see at the bottom. If you look up inside there, you can get a real sense of it being a straw.
Hence the name straw stalactites.
Yeah, cavers love their literal names for things.
Yeah, yeah. But this is just beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever seen, not just anywhere in Wales, but anywhere in the world. It's absolutely beautiful.
So was it worth grovelling and a squeezing and
It was now. I must admit, at the time I thought this had better be worth it, you know, but the grunting, the groaning, the whining, the getting cold, the getting wet, all my muscles aching, this makes it all worthwhile.
Definitely.
It really is beautiful.
While water plays a huge part in defining the Welsh landscape, it's also an important resource to be exploited. High rainfall and large upland lakes makes Wales a perfect location to site a hydroelectric power station. The oldest in Britain lies below the summit of Snowdon in Cwm Dully. It was built in 1905. It still produces electricity and supplies the national grid, and is remotely switched on and off when power is needed. Jack Riley is one of the staff who looks after the power station.
It reminds me of a Welsh chapel, you know, this does. And I suppose when it was built, it would have been full of machinery, would it?
Yeah, it would have been 4 units, same as one that's there.
And now all of that is compacted into this unit here?
Yeah, this is just as efficient and producing the same power as those 4 units once did years ago.
And the water that drives this come from where? From which lake?
It's coming up from Llydau, up at the top, just up Snowdon.
So these pipes that come down the mountain, they're feeding this, and that comes in where?
It comes right down the hill, enters the building, gets into the machine through a valve there.
And the electricity that you create then goes straight to the national grid?
Yeah, sold to them.
And I suppose when it comes on, there's a fair bit of noise in here, is it?
Oh yeah, air defenders, definitely.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it that bad, is it? I always think, you know, we've got that much water in Wales, we really should be making a lot more of it, you know, a lot more things like this.
There are fewer than 10 hydroelectric power stations in Wales. Now, considering the amount of water we have, you might think there would be more. Cwm Dully has been generating electricity for over 100 years, and will probably continue to do so for another 100. It's one of Wales's little power gems. But the real surprise for me is the land surrounding the power station.
So one of the things that I really love about Wales is that, completely unexpectedly, come across an area of rough habitat here, very rocky area. Agriculturally, it's rubbish, absolute rubbish, but it's got this tufts of gorse, it's got bracken, it's got a few trees, and it's actually got at least 3 pairs of yellowhammers here. Now, if you go looking for yellowhammers, they're very difficult to find. It's quite a scarce bird now. But we've stumbled across a real little hotspot, and it's lovely to hear a bird calling here. There's another one calling behind me, just over there. And there's another one calling up above over there. And these are stunning birds. They're beautiful, lovely canary yellow face and chest. They're lovely, beautiful, beautiful birds. So that's a really nice find. That's lifted my spirits, that.
There's no doubt that the biggest use of water as a resource in Wales is for the supply of drinking water. Over the years, reservoir building has caused deep emotion and anger in Wales, especially those supplying cities across the border, which have involved the drowning of villages and the relocation of local communities. But whatever your views are on the rights and wrongs of the sites chosen for them, these huge masses of water have had a big impact on the Welsh landscape, and indeed, some have added to its beauty. Especially this one at Lake Vyrnwy in mid-Wales. Built in 1880 to supply water to Merseyside, it's the largest reservoir in Wales.
And this is where I grew up. I left when I was 18 years old, and by the time I'd gone, I must have walked every square metre of the moorland, the woodland, the farmland, the edge of the reservoir, in search of birds' nests and frogs and toads and newts and fish, anything and everything, really. And although I appreciated it when I was here, do you know, it's only now that I come back, many years later on, that I realise how privileged I was to grow up in such a beautiful, such a stunning place.
Because the lake is so vast, it's very difficult to spot anything on the water. But if you're lucky, you may see some special birds. Like this, it's a great crested grebe. The majority of wildlife at Vyrnwy is in the surrounding woodland and uplands. These are goshawk chicks, waiting for their parents to return with food. They're quite old chicks, and visits from the parents are less frequent now. One of the chicks is exercising its wings. Now, it won't be long before they set off for their first flight. Lake Vyrnwy was built during Victorian times and was constructed as a direct consequence of the industrial age. As cities grew, water was needed by an increasing population and to fuel industry. And industry itself has played a major part in shaping Wales. In the next programme, I'll be looking at industrial Wales and its effect on the Welsh landscape and wildlife. The large-scale reshaping of the land and the legacy left behind. Also the secondary effects of industry, including canal and railway building. And the great parks created by the industrial wealth. It's a programme on the nature and beauty of Welsh industry.
Another chance to see David Attenborough's first live here on BBC HT at 7 tomorrow. And coming up next, it's A Question of Taste.